Dungeons and Dragons, a place where it's run by imagination, your ability to grow, and the way you explore a whole world beyond your own. It's set on your ability to adapt, be another person, take on a character. It's a place where you truly get to use your imagination to immerse yourself. And that's what we're going to like to capture today. Welcome to Dungeon Dorks. This will be the first of a few videos of our upcoming campaign, the Infinity Battlefeild. And without further ado, let's introduce our players. Welcome to Dungeon Dorks. We're going to give you a better introduction with their voices because this is an audio podcast. So I'm going to say their real name and they'll introduce themselves. Alright, Olivia?
I am Selicity. Selicity Kandrin. I am a level 15 cleric and a wood elf, which means I have a lot of spells that I can use to affect life and death and stuff.
Alright, Billy?
I'm Drithee of the Fiend. I'm a level 15 warlock. I draw my power from selling my soul to a demon.
David?
I am Ragnar Oakenheart, a half-orc fighter, exiled from Frostshell and secluded in a mountain.
Alright, Tyler?
I am Icebahn, a level 15 wizard half-elf. I have many spells to destroy my enemies with.
You guys have been a group of adventurers for a long time, almost 5 years, and you've become very experienced in combat and dealing with any kind of issue that comes your way.
We are the Durst clan.
Essentially, you guys are wandering through the forest looking for your next adventure when a guard from the Kingdom of Wine approaches, out of breath, panting, and he says, Please, I need your guys' help. The King of Wine has sent me to retrieve you. I'm so glad I found you.
What do you need help with?
The king has an urgent matter that deals with all three of the kingdoms. He's stumbling on his own words because he's just so out of breath. He's like, I need you guys here. The king can explain.
I look around behind me, nodding my head.
Bring us to the king!
As you say that, the guard begins to turn around and guides you back to the city. Once you get there, the Kingdom of Wine has walls surrounding it. From the walls, a door appears, and the guards come out of it. And they see who you are, and they begin to escort you quickly through the city, urgently, and they get you to the king's throne room.
Nothing to look at here, huh?
And they apologize for the urgentness. And then as you get there, the king sees you, and he begins to stand, and he speaks. He says, Welcome to my kingdom. I am Ulysses. We have an extremely dire situation, and we are in need of your assistance for it. He begins to pace around. As you know, there are 3 kingdoms in this world. Thaw, Gron, and of course, Wine. Gron and Thaw often have their spackles fighting over silly things like religion and race. But recently something has come up. I feel the need to intervene. It's their gods. They've feuded for centuries and created the land you stand on in their battle, and they seek to do it again. I fear it will destroy us. Thaw and Gron have reported to me that their clerics and paladins, dedicated to healing kingdoms and their diseases, have suddenly fled in the same direction. Here, I fear the Gradian and Tharis have some sort of involvement in this and seek to destroy what they made together.
Well, what can we do to stop this?
This is the part where you guys come in. The only way to appease the gods is to make them submit. You must defeat their forces on their mountains. If you do, they will be forced to retract their forces to build themselves up again. And that would take centuries. You would save millions, and I'll throw in anything you desire upon completion. Just please, save this city.
So really, what you want us to do is kill 2 armies from 2 cities just to save your one city.
No. You guys, no one could ever defeat an entire army as such a small group. What I want you guys to do is that you need to go to the top of the gods' mountains themselves and go to them and try to convince them to stop these forces.
Will it help my people if I do?
We believe that the clerics and paladins that are leading the scene are coming here to destroy us, and doing so has left both Gron and Thaw very vulnerable to disease. I fear that they will be dying out if their paladins and clerics do not return.
Well, if it helps my people, I shall go.
I say we go.
I do recall you mentioning something about getting whatever we need. Can we get that beforehand, and then afterwards it'd be like, an agreement of sorts?
A brief pat on
We're
the
gonna
back.
need more stuff than just what we have.
As you ask for something, the king proceeds to call out his master enchanter. He walks up to Ragnar and proceeds to ask of his sword.
Be careful with my sword.
He takes your sword and he closes his eyes for a moment, holding it in his hands, and it begins to glow faintly. And he opens his eyes again, and the glowing stops. And he hands it back to you, and it almost feels cold, and he tells you, you're a half-orc, so I assume that you believe in Wintergate. So I made your sword as cold as that place.
I do. And I thank you for this wonderful gift.
Wow.
And he proceeds to ask of your bow, Selicity.
Alright, here you go. I just, flop it up. Freaking.
He barely catches it, and he then proceeds to, the same thing happens again, but while his glowed a blue color, yours is beginning to glow a yellow. A god of life proceeded to bless this for me, so this will now do the damage of a god of life.
Ooh, pretty.
And then with your enchanted weapons, the king says, that is all I can do for you. Now please, save my city.
We shall be off. Where are we going again?
Ah, yes. And he hands you a map, and essentially is the geography of the whole area. He shows you that how to get to each mountain from one.
Alright. Let it be known that the Dirt Clan has come to save the world.
Alright.
I vote Thaw first.
I think we shall go to Thaw first.
As
I
you,
am with them.
Oh, glad we can all agree.
Glad we could clarify that he was with us.
as you guys are done speaking to the king, the same guards that escorted you in proceed to escort you back out. And then you guys have the separate paths on the map to go to each mountain. And you said you guys want to go to the God of Light's mountain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hurry scurry again, I see.
Alright, so you all proceed to the mountain, and it takes you 2 days to travel there. You have no complications getting there. You wander through the vast forests and plains of the land, getting there, crossing a few rivers, seeing some sights, crossing through some fields where you see deer and basic animals like squirrels and birds.
Basic.
But then you begin to see the peak, you begin to start to encounter the rise of the mountain, and it starts to become foggy. What do you guys do? Do you continue on your path?
This fog is getting really dense.
Do I...
I know, I can barely breathe.
We
Can I
need to
check to
continue
see?
onward.
Can I check to see if I see anything through it?
Yeah, all of you roll a perception check. Okay, so Icebahn, you see a faint figure in the fog, and then Selicity and Drithee also see it. What do you guys do?
Can I
Seems
approach?
there's a thing over there. Hey, go check that out.
I shall. I want to walk towards the being.
I'll accompany you.
As you guys approach, you begin to see that this is almost a ghostly figure, and it begins to start wailing.
Can I draw my sword? Like, ready for any action?
You draw your sword.
I draw my sword.
Alright. As you draw your sword, you begin to see 4 more ghosts appear, 2 on each side of this first ghost. What do you do? They're all wailing. You can all clearly hear his ghostly wail now.
Can I attack?
Sure,
I'm
dude.
gonna go ahead and attack.
Alright, what are you going to attack with?
Sunburst.
So Icebahn proceeds to cast Sunburst. Icebahn proceeds to put his hand out, and then small beam of light shoots towards the center of the first ghost. And then as it touches the ground next to the ghost, a blinding light shoots across everywhere. And the ghosts almost seem to dissipate in it. Roll damage.
Alright. It's 12d6. Alright, 47.
The big burst of light fades and you cannot see the ghosts for a split second. When it comes back, the ghosts are all barely there. It's as if they've been somehow struck to their limits of being alive in the afterlife. And you feel like, if any more, they would be destroyed. They begin to wail louder than ever before in almost a pain. And you notice that what everywhere else is a ghostly glowing presence, their eyes do not have that. They are blind.
And I see that. Are they in like a line formation?
Yes.
Like,
They're all standing in a line.
like kind of like a wall?
Yeah, like a wall on the
I'm
path.
going to cast.
Hold on, before you do it.
Okay.
Let us all send them back to Wintergate.
And with that, I'm going to cast Flame Strike.
Are you going to say anything in response to your massive explosion?
Take that.
So, what are you going to do, Drithee?
Cast Flame Strike.
Alright.
So they have to make a dexterity saving throw.
Alright, what do they have to beat?
DC 18.
They all failed.
They all failed.
Yeah.
And they're all taking 37 damage.
My hair's falling
With
out.
these four people, ghosts, laid out in a line, I see the planets align right for me to perfectly launch a flame strike down through them. A big burst of flame flies from the sky in a line, decimating them, scorching them with the hottest flames imaginable.
Alright, and as these flames cast down, their wails already screaming in pain as their ghostly eyes were revoked of their sight, suddenly end, instantly being touched by this flame, just completely destroys them. What do you do?
So, I have this ability as a warlock with my patron, Darkman's Blessing. Whenever I kill something, I gain temporary hit points. Since I kill 5 things, I'll get an additional 100 temporary hit points.
Okay. How do you react to this whole thing?
I'm gonna say, wow, guys, I wonder what they wanted. I wonder why they were standing at the bottom of this mountain crying. I wonder what's going on up there. Guess it doesn't matter now. Guess we should go on.
Obviously, we were told that there were going to be things protecting this place. So, we just kind of assumed.
I don't like little elf lady any longer.
That she doesn't like killing things unnecessarily?
Exactly.
That makes sense. Alright, let's continue on.
Icebahn, how do you react?
Take that.
Who are you saying it to?
All the ghosts are destroyed and the path is clear. What do you do?
Continue onward to Temple.
As you go up the mountain, the fog begins to dissipate, and you see nothing but a nice summer sky. It's just like the nicest day you've ever seen on top of this mountain. When you expect to be cold, it seems warm. It seems like just the place for the god of light to be.
Ragnar does not like the warmth.
Wow, it's almost like experiencing a first love again, just right in front of your eyes.
What is love? Like a love for a sword or a freshly killed opponent?
Yes, now let's go!
Please, let's move on.
Okay.
Oh,
It's not like we stopped, we're just talking as we're walking, you frickin' fricks.
Alright.
Do we need to take a rest?
Yeah, do you guys want to take a moment to assess yourself? You guys have been climbing this mountain for about 5 hours.
For about 5 days.
I believe my legs are tired. And I am tired. And we need to sleep.
I forgot elves are weak, but we shall rest.
So it's only gonna be a short rest, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be short. Okay, short.
I'm gonna meditate.
So you guys all take a rest for a moment, and you just take a minute to sit down and catch your breath in the nice air. And you guys are feeling pretty good, and you feel like you're ready for your next fight, next battle, whatever you encounter. And you're all up and ready to go. What will you do?
Shall we continue on?
Ragnar agrees.
As we're walking, I'm striking various fighting poses,
Okay.
and
Are
just
you
like that.
dancing?
No, I'm just trying to get revved up. Let's go.
Well, it looks like you're dancing.
What do you care to dance? Then don't come at me.
Alright.
Don't.
Little elf.
As you guys are traveling, you begin to reach what you feel is the top of the mountain, and you see this ginormous structure, temple that has pillars all around it, and a giant symbol of an infinity sign in the air, glowing a bright yellow. What do you guys do?
Can I try to see what that is? Like
Sure. Roll an arcane check.
13 plus 10, 23.
23. You see this as basically the mark of a god itself. You basically, like a way a dog pees on something to claim ownership, this is the way a god does it.
Well, it's a wonderful description. I believe it's because the god is infinite in its reign above the mountain.
So
I
it's like
believe we should go inside of the temple.
So it's like an infinity sign?
I guess.
so it's like the time.
I agree with Drithee. We shall enter.
Alright, you can only see one entrance to the place.
Big guy goes first. Go on, Ragnar.
I shall go first.
Alright, you enter the place? Alright, as you all enter the inside, the place seems to be dark, but the second you step in, there is a bright flash of white light. And then, as your eyes begin to adjust, this is a room filled with only light and no shadow. And in front of you, you see a big white dragon sleeping. Dragons aren't really... You guys know that dragon, they're basically known as almost something that only comes close to gods because they feel so high up in their status.
Were we told there was going to be a dragon here?
Of course there would be a dragon here. It's a god, you idiot.
You say that, but we weren't told there was a dragon.
Do you think it'd be a white boar sitting there eating carrots? No, it's a dragon.
Do I see like an exit or something, like somewhere I can sneak around or something?
You, on the other end of on the other side of the room, past the dragon, you see a door that has bright yellow bars covering it.
Make Arcana check about the
bars. Go
Yeah.
for it.
Can I do that too?
Yeah. What'd you roll?
11.
14.
Okay. You guys as proficient magic users, Icebahn and Drithee, begin to see this as something that is a godly thing to do. Essentially, to block mortals off, they essentially set up these barriers that cannot be crossed unless a life force that they attach the bars to is destroyed, to prove the worth of your entrance. And the only life force you see in the room is the dragon.
I think we have to defeat the dragon.
I will cut off its head.
Can I immediately turn around and attack the dragon?
You can.
Wait,
All
don't
right.
you think we should
Nope.
plan?
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and use Disintegrate. Alright.
I'm going to cast Aid on you three.
Okay, so can I use my move?
Yeah, go for
Okay,
it.
do you want me to roll?
It's disintegrate, so it has to succeed on a roll, and because it's sleeping, it's going to get disadvantage. It failed on the roll, so I want
Full
you.
damage.
It takes the full damage of the disintegrate spell.
Okay, you just want me to roll my damage?
Sure, go for it.
And as I see him finish that spell, I'm like,
Guess we're going full out.
and so after that, I'll cast Finger of Death.
87.
Take that.
Take that.
All right. So, assessing the situation as you needed to defeat the dragon to get past, Icebahn proceeds to put his hand out, and 5 beams of light, one from each finger, shoots out towards the dragon, and the dragon begins to glow with a green light, and then you hear a loud pop noise, and then essentially it is suddenly very damaged, and then it wakes up, and it roars as loud as it can.
I see that. I look the dragon right in the eyes, raise up one finger, pointed directly in between his eyes, and cast Finger of Death. It's going to be 78 plus 30 damage. Eyes, as a point of aim, this black death energy expands from my fingers as my eyes begin to glow a glaring red, and it blasts him, and his skin right between his eyes begin to melt a
See
little
what it does.
as this force of death just withered it.
It begins to roar again, and it is ready to attack. All of you roll initiative. The dragon, after it wakes up after being attacked by 2 furious attacks by Drithee and Icebahn, he begins to look hostile if he's about to attack. And with that, it's now Drithee's turn.
Seeing that he is damaged and knowing that this thing still needs to die and has taken a lot of hits and is not dying as well as I want him to, I'm going to cast Circle of Death. It creates a aura of just straight necrotic damage, and it just rains like death upon whatever is in this area. 11 damage.
11?
Yep, that was a very bad roll. on that.
Yeah.
Because
So,
the 11 is the half the damage.
okay, so what's gonna happen is Drithee proceeds to put out his hand, and this purple aura surrounds the dragon, and then the dragon just roars, and then the aura begins to flicker and go away, doing minimal to the dragon. And after Drithee delivers this blow that doesn't seem to be very effective, he proceeds to flee to the other direction to gain distance. And now it is Selicity's turn to attack.
Okay, so I'm going to cast Spirit Guardians around me.
As the chaos starts to ensue and the hostility seems to rise, Selicity begins to use her magic to summon spirits to surround her and to protect her if anything were to happen.
It's in the 15 feet radius, so it's protecting him too, because he's right in front of me.
Her and any of her allies inside of this radius are protected. And then now it is Ragnar's turn. You're in a protection circle. You basically see angelic looking creatures surrounding.
I want to hit the dragon in the weakened part of his face with my bolt from my hand crossbow.
Okay, roll for attack. Alright, so you miss. As you try to shoot the dragon, it whizzes past its head, barely missing. And now it is the dragon's turn. The dragon, enraged at these spellcasters who have damaged it, begins to walk towards them. As he approaches Drithee, who just tried to desperately gain distance, he begins to turn around and try and swing his tail at him. The dragon swings its tail, but desperately fails when it swings and hits its tail against the wall, injuring it and stopping it from hitting Drithee. He feels lucky to be alive, and it takes damage from doing that. Alright, and with that, it is now Icebahn's turn.
Alright. I have the exact move I would like to use. How many, what's my speed? Like, how far can I move?
30.
30. So I want to use Sunburst. Okay, it's 12d6. Yeah, 58.
58 damage.
Dang.
Alright, once again, just like he used on the ghosts, Icebahn proceeds to point his finger out, and that small breach of light hits the ground next to the dragon, and a bright light flashes in the room, even brighter than it was before when you walked in. And the dragon, his glowing white eyes start to fade a little bit, and as he goes blind from this light and starts to take damage from this burning sun that you just threw at it. And now it's looking quite damaged. And with that, it comes back to Drithee.
Seeing that he's heavily damaged, and seeing that he is now coming for me, since he's so heavily damaged, I'm going to look at him as he's gnarling at me and whisper one word. Day! Cast power word stun. Is he below 150 hit points?
Yes.
He is instantly stunned.
As you look at this dragon and command it to stay still, it becomes petrified and cannot move.
He cannot move and can only speak falteringly. He fails strength and dexterity saving throws instantly, and attack rolls against him have advantage.
Okay. So he cannot move. This dragon is frozen in place.
At the end of
It
his
is at your whim. And now it comes down to Selicity.
I'm going to use Sacred Flame to burn the dragon to death. Hopefully, anyway.
You hit.
Dang. Okay, 9. That
9
sucks.
damage.
9 damage.
Right, as this dragon is stunned, the first thing that is done is Selicity, inside her angel protection, begins to summon down another little flame from the sky and plants it on the dragon's back as it somehow seeps through the ceiling and hits the dragon in the back and burns it slightly. And now it comes to Ragnar's turn. You see this dragon is petrified and cannot move as
Is its head
Drithee has commanded it to stay.
I want to move in front to where I'm like right in front of the dragon's head. I'm gonna attack his head 3 times with my sword. 25.
You hit the first hit. Roll the second. Roll all your attack rolls.
52 damage.
This dragon, petrified, blind, cannot move. Ragnar begins to run up to it. Who had missed this last attack, comes up with his sword and shield, swings at it once with the long sword coming from the right, swings again coming back from the left, and then last of all spins his sword in his hand to be facing the downward and plunges his sword into the dragon's head, and then the petrified body of the dragon proceeds to fall limp as it dies. And then behind you, you see the bars that the gods have placed have faded from existence.
And that is how it is done, you elves. Take that!